What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show, and we've got a lot lined up for today. Bitcoin correcting from this morning despite the favorable inflation numbers, leading many to believe that we will still see an interest rate cut in September. But like I said, prices are down. Why is that? Well, it could be the U.S. government moving around some of that Silk Road money from Bitcoin. Are they about to sell? Just how much would they sell? And how big of an impact would that have on Bitcoin price? What comes next? People have been waiting for this bull market to start now for a while, but I think some are beginning to lose hope. If you've been watching the Bros channel, hopefully you stick with us because the best is yet to come, but we're not out of the woods as far as potential negativity coming. We're going to cover all of that and a whole lot more. But first, you got to make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and we've got to roll the intro. All right, T-Shroom, we're back at it again. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing better than I deserve, Tim. That looks like a nice chilly cup of water there.
It's a nice chilly cup of water in one of those like ninja cups things. You know, we don't really have like large cups here at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I if I'm not drinking out of a Gatorade bottle, which I need to clean my desk, I have like 3 of these things just sitting here. Shout out to Gatorade Zero. Today was a ninja cup kind of ice water day, you know.
Now, did you blend that up? Did you blend up that mix in the Ninja blender?
Oh, you're so silly, T-Shirt. You're so silly.
But Tim, I think today, you know what today feels like? Today feels like a like goal day. What should we set up a like goal for?
Wow, a like goal day. I like goal days. I'll tell you this. We usually are good for 200. I think 300, we're just kind of putting it somewhere of 100. 350. 350 is the light goal for today. What happens if we hit that light goal, T-Shroom?
I don't know. We like to take off our hats a lot. What's something?
It's too late for me.
I'll put my hat on
my back. Yeah?
What if I put my hat on backwards, Tim?
I feel like that's really lame. It seems like it's not that big of a deal for 350 likes. Let's get some suggestions in chat here. While we're waiting on those suggestions, smash the like and take a look at what's happening on the charts here. Let's go look at our bubbles. Lots of red, some green over here. Ave, Ton, Flare, and Not definitely looking very good. Not and Ton doing well. It's weird to see that Ton is outpacing Not, though. You would think that potentially the smaller coin with the lesser market cap would outpace the larger one. But, hey, that's the world we're living in at the moment. But you do see some nice redness. Say, Tia, Ordy, Whiff, Sui, Stacks, Maker. They're really big red bubbles today. Theta's over here behind my face. Down almost 5%. So I would say even though we have this cluster of green and a couple of sprinklers over on the right, overwhelmingly a day of red. Like we said, it could have been / should have been a bullish morning after the inflation data. But I'm going to cover a little more of that. I talked about it this morning during our special live show covering the inflation data. We are bullish long-term on it, but I did tell you guys, don't be surprised to see a little bit of a sell-off. And sure enough, we're hitting some levels we talked about this morning. The question, though, is am I right about the pullback being volatile and only pulling back a little bit below 59K before a rally continues? Or are we seeing the beginning signs of something much larger? Let's take a look at the chart, and then we're going to jump into some news, come back to the charts here in just a couple of minutes. But let's take a look at what Bitcoin is at. It's right now hovering at $59,000. Doesn't look so bad on the daily chart. Just looks like we're kind of consolidating in a smaller area. If I were to go to the 4-hour chart, you can see very much sideways action. Could we go a little bit lower? I absolutely think we could go lower because I told you guys all of this run-up that we've had over the last couple of days was, in my opinion, kind of baking in that we thought that we were going to get favorable inflation numbers. I want to make sure you guys understand this. It is bullish that inflation is the lowest level it has been since March of 2021. However, it's not uncommon in very volatile markets, which we are in right now, for the price of any asset to retrace and get rid of all of the momentum. Why? Well, it's because everyone thought it wouldn't. A lot of emotional traders out there are just convinced they need to long the second we get good news. A lot of times getting the good news isn't the time to long. It's before the good news or after a significant pullback comes and makes people start to ask, Did we misinterpret that news? Was it actually bad? That's exactly what's happening right now. I told everybody, look for around 59,000. There's a chance we drop even all the way to 58. 58 could get very interesting because, again, that would wipe out literally all the gains. But coming back down and touching the same level right in here, if I zoomed in, touching back to the same level we started the significant rally on yesterday, to me, looks like a very good double bottom. It is a short-term bullish move. You're also going to find we're sitting on ourselves on a level of support here with a nice order block. We didn't hit our take profit on the 1 hour chart, but as I start to drop towards lower charts, since we don't go to very often, but you're going to see order blocks, green support, take profits on our 30. Our 15-minute chart, even though it's kind of being a little volatile at the moment, is flashing a buy signal here where we have positive money flow. We've got our green reversal and green momentum. We were 100% oversold on that level, and the MACD looks to be showing some strength. It's not necessarily over just yet. Could we dip a little bit lower? Absolutely. What I want to point out, though, is if we come back out here to a larger time frame, the 1 hour chart, the Bitcoin chart as a whole, there's not necessarily a pattern in play here. You could kind of do some stretching. Let's go to the 4 hour chart actually and get a little bit better of a look at this. You could do some stretching and say maybe potentially we're in worst case scenario, symmetrical triangle pattern, good top case scenario, an ascending triangle where maybe you're looking at these 3 touches with the exception of that wick back here on August 8th. You got a flat top where 61.7 really did some great work here multiple times, rejecting the price of Bitcoin. Could this be a bullish formation, in which case we see the price of Bitcoin take a bounce right here and move to the upside? That's absolutely on the table. As I showed you, Luxago shows us we had a lot of support right in there. But I'm looking at some other things saying there's a chance. I want to make sure people are aware of this, that we could go ahead and dip down to some of these lower levels like 54, 56. But I'm not necessarily finding that on the Bitcoin chart as much as I'm seeing a potential indicator on the Ethereum chart. This is the Ethereum 4 hour, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a rising wedge pattern. It's also not just a rising wedge pattern, but depending on what time frame you're looking, let's say we were to go to like the 12 hour or higher, there could be a case made that this is a bear pennant. Now, I don't think that it is, but I want you to know there will be people out there claiming that it is, and that we could potentially see Ethereum drop as far as 1,800. Now, that's going to be a lot of your strong bears. I don't believe that's the case. At this point, I still think we need to see a breakout happen, but more often than not, these types of patterns, even if we weren't attaching it to a bearish pennant, you would see at least a bearish breakout, something like this, where you take the opening conservatively, you move it to the last level of resistance, and this could see a price of Ethereum at 2,400. I'm not saying that this is 100% set in stone, but based off the fact that this is what the Ethereum chart is showing, and even though Bitcoin doesn't have the same formation, I don't see Bitcoin and Ethereum splitting and Bitcoin rising to the upside and Ethereum going to the downside. So it kind of begs the question, coming back to the chart here, T-Shroom, could this be a fake out opportunity and the bulls making a lot of people think that the price is going to go downside, use that as a buying opportunity to send price to the upside? That's what we need to see to feel more confident. But as a whole, Bitcoin at a level of support of its own, are we going to see a change? We could, but let's take a look at our liquidations here as well, where we're going to see a little bit of a mixed bag right now. I know people hate this, but we are sitting in a spot right now where the brave are going to make a move and they'll make some money or lose some money. People who guess wrong just because they're going with their emotions are going to lose money. At the moment, it's not necessarily the worst strategy in the world to say, you know what, I'm going to sit this one out and wait to see what breakout happens. Are we going to go bullish and I'll jump in on the trend, or am I going to go bearish? What am I talking about here? Look at our liquidation charts here. We've got some interesting liquidity down towards 57.4. We have some more even down here at 55. And if things get really bad, we could retrace back down towards 48,000. Now, this is on the 7-day. If you were to go, let's say, to like the 12 hour, what could happen the rest of the day? And you kind of zoom in here, you'll see there's really actually not a whole lot of liquidity below us. The majority of it is actually sitting back up here at 61.50. So I'm telling you, this is a mixed bag right now. The 12 hour, I would look at this and say, I'm not saying there's nothing down here, but it seems like the most advantageous move would be a move back up above 61. Then I go over here to the 7-day and I say, well, not so fast. There's definitely some interesting liquidity over the next week, potentially, that we could come down even back to 55K or even lowered below 50. But then you go out here to the longer time frames, you move to the 1 month, and you're going to see, oh, look at that. We kind of removed all the heavy bearish liquidity. Everything else is sitting above us. You come out even longer. You go out to the 3-month chart, and it's like there's almost nothing whatsoever down here. Yeah, a little bit below here at 50K, but check out where all the bright yellow is sitting, pretty much close to, if not at, all-time highs. So ultimately, what is the takeaway? Well, I just said it. This is a stop and wait. Do you want to take advantage of an opportunity and maybe look to leverage some different positions with a tight stop loss? Possibly. I think there's probably a better argument over the short term based off what we were looking on the 12-hour and the amount of support levels we're sitting on. I think there's a better bet that we at least see a smaller move to the upside. What could that be? Go back to my chart here, T-Shroom. I think you could easily see a move back up to 61.6, 61.5. There's liquidity up there. And then we reject once again, and we have to make a decision. So I'm in the moment, actually, with our VIP trading group in a long position on Bitcoin, just in case we do that. However, I do have a tight stop loss set up. And if we do start to lose the support level, it might not be the worst thing in the world to hedge your bets and enter into a short position, which again could be seeing price fall back to $55,000 to $54,000. And that does not kill this long-term bullish momentum. It simply means we're not ready to burst out just yet. Now it's time to get into some stories that could have heavy impact, but I want to remind everyone, again, this morning, very bullish inflation data. The pinpoint or the other side of that data that's going to confirm whether it's bullish or not comes out next week during Jackson Hole meetings out in Wyoming. The Fed and Jerome Powell will be out there meeting, discussing what the future looks like. We're going to hear from them, I believe, both days, both Wednesday and Thursday, the 21st and the 22nd. Look to see if recent data from unemployment and inflation brings them a little more peace about going into a cut session where we actually begin to cut rates again for the first time in over 2 years. That, as long as it's not based out of fear and based off of good data, would be extremely bullish for both crypto and the stock market. But we do have a lot of volatility and a lot of decisions to make between now and then. So don't be surprised if the next 7 days do not do really anything of big significance or possibly even take a little pull to the downside. But let's talk about more data and more points coming in here. T-Shroom, there is a big story coming that the United States government has been moving around some Bitcoin and potentially is going to be selling it. Let's talk about the details here and how great of an impact it would actually have.
Yeah, the headline here from Radar Hits is breaking. U.S. government just moved 10,000 Silk Road Bitcoin worth $590 million to Coinbase Prime. Then you've got the transaction information there. Of course, the market was probably not anticipating this, but Tim, the reality of this story is that $590 million might sound like a lot of money, and it is, right? But in terms of moving the market, it really is not that much money, right? So what did we see? The last major dump we saw in Bitcoin was when Germany went ahead and sold $3 billion worth of Bitcoin over the course of about 2.5 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And that only really brought it down, let's say 10% from the peak that it was at. To me, this is not going to be enough to, even if they sell it, which they haven't sold it, they just moved it to Coinbase Prime, which can be an indication that they're going to sell it. It's in a more liquid state now. However, to me, this is no reason to sell my Bitcoin. I'm not even I haven't moved an inch closer to the sell button for my Bitcoin, and I don't think many investors who are in Bitcoin for the long haul should even consider selling either. But Tim, is there something maybe I'm missing here?
No, I think you're right. The number is nowhere near as significant as the German number, but I will say, let's pretend they sold it all at one time, one place. That's a heavy amount of volume, and it would, these levels we're talking about. We're not talking about brand new lows. We're talking about going back down to 55, 54, maybe even going back down towards 50K. That's absolutely possible. I mean, the other thing I've seen, and you see this all the time, so we're not going to show you any data points, but anyone who's been trying to follow the overarching whale move, I'll tell you, it's kind of a mixed bag right now. Every other day I see a whale with 100,000 Bitcoin. They're moved all of their Bitcoin into onto an exchange. That's very, very bearish. But then the next day it's like, oh, whale removes 100,000 Bitcoin off exchange and puts it into a cold wallet. So it's like we have some whales selling, you have some whales buying. We're seeing a great move back and forth. The other thing you can't ever rule out is whales know, and depending on what whale we're talking about, but whales know that people follow their addresses. They know that their addresses are public. They know that Arkham can reveal who's moving what. So if I'm a manipulator, if I am the composite man and I'm one of these whales, wouldn't it make sense for me to move my stuff around just to confuse people? It's not until we actually see the sell orders that we know for 100% certainty that whales are selling. Now, I'll tell you, every single time you see a whale move money off exchange, that's bullish. There's no concern. There's no questions. That's very, very bullish. They're moving it away from being able to sell. But when they move it onto exchange, traditionally that should be pretty bearish. It's not a guarantee just then. The other thing I see in chat here, especially on this story about what the U.S. government is doing, it's not a good look. I'll say this for a plethora of reasons. But anyone who's thinking this is Kamala Harris, I'm gonna defend her. This is not Kamala Harris, and I'm actually going to go so far as to say this is terrible for Kamala Harris. You guys have been hearing the rumors. We've been reporting the rumors that Kamala is trying her very hardest to maybe reunite some lost relationships with the crypto space. She's not delusional. She realizes that the Biden campaign and her being the vice president, being a part of that, has not been the friendliest to crypto. They're also realizing that there's a lot more crypto holders in the United States than you might think, and a lot of them might be one-issue voters, single-issue voters. So she's been rumored to be partnering and trying to rebuild those relationships. But I believe today even more came out about her actual deciding to really try to be considered a pro-crypto candidate. I've seen different websites such as Cointelegraph, even, for example, which has a rough history with the truth and has a rough history with the crypto space as a whole. They're actually trying to promote her right now as if she is a very pro-crypto candidate. I think a lot of people watching this channel probably don't buy that necessarily, but let's just chase the logic here. She's trying to change her image, whether she's being truthful or not. She's putting the news out there that she should be a pro-crypto candidate. Well, if it's true that the United States government, under her boss, still technically, I guess, Joe Biden and his administration, if they're currently selling Bitcoin, despite maybe some recent rumblings from Donald Trump saying he doesn't want to sell a single Bitcoin, he wants to hold it if he's president, that would simply work against Kamala's case that she would be a pro-crypto president. And I don't think I don't think we should be freaking out at all either about the fact that she's leading in polls right now, because I think she knows, just like the rest of us, those polls are inflated. They're just localized data. A lot of things could change. She cannot afford to be seen as being an anti-crypto at the moment. So to me, I think we should pull the brakes for a second before we assume anything, even about the U.S. government selling in general. But we absolutely should realize logically, if you don't want Kamala to be president, there's a part of you that almost might say, hey, I would love for the government to sell Bitcoin, because that does two things. It dips the price, which allows me to buy a cheaper level. And number two, it works very much against the candidate that I don't want to be president. I don't know if that's necessarily the correlation at this point, though. So we'll have to continue to monitor as it kind of develops and what the U.S. is doing. But I'm going to sit here and say right now, I do still lean more bullish. I told you guys yesterday I was short-term bearish. I'm relatively cautious at the moment because we're sitting on support, but I like what we're seeing at right now. I'm gonna continue to be in my long position, probably back up to about 61,000 before I take profit. I'll reevaluate at that point, but I think that this is a thing that's happening today. It's not a coincidence that we get the bullish numbers and inflation that we need, but then price corrects, and then a story like this comes out, causing many holders to be maybe a little bit bearish. It's a perfect excuse for why they would capitulate or at least not buy the dip, allowing the whales, the institutions, and the friends of the government officials to buy it up. And then price takes off. And then all of us sit here saying, oh, why didn't I buy when we got to 59,000 again? I should have scooped up. That's just how these things end up working out. That's where I'm kind of leaning at this point. T-Shirt, where are you with this? You are muted, my friend.
Sorry, my dogs were barking. Yeah, you're talking
about your feet?
Okay.
Feet are in
pain? Tim, you need to come up with a good like goal as well while I answer this. But yeah, I don't think Kamala's thinking about much, to be honest with you. I think probably the last thing on her mind is, what they should do with confiscated assets there at the U.S. government. I think probably they're more than likely just making a move here, and it may be a department that is making decisions similar to what Germany did to sell some confiscated good assets. But I think ultimately this is just a move, probably some Coinbase rep landed a deal to get more liquidity, under custody for Coinbase, and it could be as simple as that. Who knows? But
you're not wrong, because we do have reports here over the last week that on exchange holdings of cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, are at their lowest since November of 2022, back at the bottom of the bear market. So some people are going to say, is that bearish? No, it's not bearish. If the exchanges don't have a supply and they're still anticipating a bull market, and believe me, they are, they're going to need to acquire some, and that means they're buying from somebody. Are they buying straight from the U.S. government? That'd be interesting. It would have pretty much no effect on price, by the way, if that happened. If there is, that would be probably an over-the-counter trade. They just have to move it onto exchange to do the whole process. That's the scenario I think actually is very interesting, potential bullish scenario, that this is a move. This is a move for the exchanges to gain more Bitcoin in anticipation of a big move coming.
Yeah. Eric Wallen said, Kamala's a little too busy with her coconut tree brat girl summer to care about crypto. Thank you, Eric, for tuning in and always bringing the alpha in the chat. Smash the like there for Eric Wallen. Maybe you've seen him on some other streams as well. He gets around to different chats and makes everybody.
He does.
Makes everybody really, really happy. Well, speaking of being happy, we've got some more bullish news here. 2.8 trillion with the T asset manager Goldman Sachs discloses 418 million Bitcoin ETF holdings. So while the government is moving around their money, maybe even consider selling their Bitcoin, Goldman is picking some up and disclosing that in the last quarter they had quite a bit of Bitcoin to the tune of $418 million. Wall Street showing yet again that they are willing to take this asset onto their balance sheet in ETF form, something they may not have been willing to do on just Bitcoin raw Bitcoin, and onto a cold wallet. And I think this is encouraging. You may not like the sound of Goldman Sachs buying Bitcoin, but I sure do. Tim, where are you?
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone buying Bitcoin is good for us. If people are buying, it's good. You don't want to see necessarily, and we're going to see it, but I'm saying you don't love seeing the whales just get richer and the poor not jump on the deals. I mean, it's retail investors. But ultimately, these are the types of companies, even Goldman Sachs. I don't think Goldman Sachs is buying this to mess with us when we get back to all-time high and then they're going to dump on us. I believe this is a long-term buy for even them. So I see this as being very, very bullish. I wanted to address someone in chat here, T-Stream. I think this is a very good point, but I want to make sure I find it again here. Carlos Jamies, maybe? I don't know. It does not matter who the president is for Bitcoin to gain or lose. Carlos, I'm going to agree and disagree. I agree overwhelmingly that no matter who the president is, and we're talking about either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, because even though I would love to see RFK be president, I don't think that's a very likely outcome. I agree that I still think the price will go higher no matter who. I think when it's time for a bear market, the price will go lower no matter who. This is where my concern becomes bigger when it comes to who's president of the United States, and it's less to do with will the bull market continue or will we enter an early bear market. It's a lot more to do with what does the future of Bitcoin look like? Is it going to be housed heavily inside the United States, continuing to keep the U.S. as the global superpower, or will we have a president who's weak and is driving crypto out of the U.S., driving mining and innovation to other countries, all the while every single day Russia and China are getting friendlier towards mining and crypto regulation? They're nowhere near where the U.S. is currently, despite the fact that we're heading in the wrong direction. But if we continue going anti-crypto, which is a concern, then you're going to see Russia and China pick up the slack. And while my Bitcoin bags will be very, very happy, and I myself might be a wealthy man, do we want to live in a world where America loses the power and it goes to places like Russia and China? Ask yourself that question. That's the concern, I think, about who the next president of the United States is in the next couple of presidents of the United States. And I don't want to paint a picture of all doom and gloom. There's an outside possibility that if Kamala is president, things don't fall apart overnight. I don't know. Depending on who you talk to, some people act like the world's going to burn instantly. I just remember I was told that if George W. Bush, as a child, I was told that if he was president, everything was going to be okay. Everything was not okay. I was told that if Obama won presidency, everything would burn and die on the first day. I survived that one. In fact, I survived 8 years of it, actually. And I was told if Donald Trump was president, everything was going to be okay. And then we went through COVID. So there's no guarantee, no matter who the president is, of major success or major failure. We still have to kind of ride all this stuff out. That being said, I still think we should be wise about who we are electing into these offices, because it does increase probabilities of doom or success. And in this case, I just have major concerns about Kamala's future, how crypto would respond here in the United States.
Yep. And then Allison Jerde said, "Are you guys sure this isn't just FUD?"
No, that's what I just said. I said that here a little bit ago. I said this a possibility, the coincidence of this news pairing with bullish inflation data. The whole thing is it's a very confusing point where everyone thought this data was supposed to be bullish, but it's not. And then you print a story like this, and maybe that's an excuse why we should go lower. And that causes retail to capitulate. That also causes retail not to buy the dip. That leaves an opportunity for the wealthy to do so.
Yeah, and I don't think that it is FUD. I think it's a movement, right? It's just a fact. Bitcoin was transferred from one wallet to another wallet that has been identified as Coinbase Prime, which is an exchange, right? It can be sold there. However, right, it's the media that's going to spin it into FUD. And here in the Investing Bros, we are trying to help you realize that, yes, there is a possibility that all of this Bitcoin could be dumped as I'm saying this, right? That's a possibility. But we're trying to tell you that we see this come in the news across our desks every single week, right? Yeah. Some government, some big wallet is moving money on exchange. And that's okay. Sometimes it gets sold, sometimes it doesn't, right? If it starts to get into the billions, right, then it's significant. And if it starts to get sold, then that's very significant, as we saw a few weeks ago in the case of Germany selling their Bitcoin. But here, no sell button has been hit, as it turns out. So is it FUD? Pretty much. You can chalk it up to FUD and just keep on buying the dips. Let's see. Carlos also said inflation is the consequence of Trumponomics. Interesting take there, Carlos. I wonder how many people in the chat agree with that. Let us know. Do you agree or disagree there with Carlos? But it doesn't stop there, Tim. The bullishness doesn't stop there. We've got another headline here. Introducing MetaMask card. Now, we are not sponsored by this at all. This is just news that came out today. Upgrade your crypto spending. This sounds promotional again, not promotional. Don't go get this necessarily. It's just news. MetaMask card pilot gives people more freedom to spend their crypto, said Lorenzo Santos, senior product manager at Consensus, which is the company that owns and manages MetaMask. MetaMask card represents a major step in removing the friction that has traditionally existed between the blockchain and real-world commerce. This is a paradigm shift that offers the best of both worlds. So this is an interesting one to break down. Will this be bullish or bearish for crypto? It's complicated. The first thing that comes to my mind, Tim, is that as an investor, I'm not holding any coins right now that I would sell or spend until much later into the future. With that said, stable coins are crypto, and I'm assuming that you'll be able to spend Tether and USDC on with this debit card. I don't know that to be true, but I would assume that is possibly true. So Tim, is this bullish or bearish? Is it a wash? How does the tax implications of selling and spending work here? What are your thoughts?
I think it's too early to say for certain if it's bullish or bearish. It's an opportunity, which on the surface is bullish. Anytime you get a new opportunity, what I mean by opportunity also is anytime you have the opportunity to not be forced to hold US dollars to pay all your bills, go buy groceries. If you had the opportunity to hold more crypto, knowing you can spend it as you go, that's going to be a bullish thing. But I think you hit it right on the head. What is the situation with taxes on that? What is the situation with fees per transaction? And it's not that I think they're terrible. It's that we don't know what they are. And until you know what they are, it's a little too early to be celebrating it as the greatest thing. I'll be honest with you, T-Shroom. I'm not going to get one. Unless I hear some great things about it, I'm not going to get one. And the truth is, this early into what we're going to, my first concern is I bet you the fees are not necessarily choice at the moment. And that's why I'm going to stay away from it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if you scroll down further in this press briefing here from MetaMask.io, you'll see that the only coins that are available in this, what looks to be a beta phase, a pilot phase, is kicking off in the EU and the UK. So it's not actually going to be available in the US, it looks like. But it's going to be integrating with Apple Pay and Google Pay. That's pretty big. Eligible currencies at launch include USDC, USDT, and wrapped ETH. So ETH is the only non-stable coin here, wrapped ETH specifically, that's going to be spendable, it looks like, which is interesting. A lot of people say Bitcoin is the store of value, and we're kind of, the rest of the cryptos are trying to figure out what is going to be the means of exchange coin. Ethereum is typically not the first one that comes to mind because of the gas fees, and wrapped Ethereum is definitely not the first one that comes to mind, but it's the one that MasterCard and MetaMask have come up with as the answer to the means of exchange, at least for now. And it probably, my guess is that it probably has more to do with their prediction of what the crypto of the future for means of exchange is, and more to do with some other goal, some other priority. Like this, just they happen to have a bunch of wrapped ETH, or wrapped ETH was donated to them, or whatever. But if you look at also this detail here, this could be a little bit of alpha, right? If I'm new to crypto, if I'm new to investing, this might not be a rabbit trail that I want to follow down. But somebody like Crux, right, or some of the degens that like to live in the Discord for Investing Bros, you can find a link to that in the description of this video, could go check out this, because wrapped ETH on Linea is listed here. Linea, I did not see a result for on CoinGecko, but if you go to the Linea website, there does seem to be a good bit of information here, and this could be potentially, it works with over 200 security partners. This could potentially be a little bit of a nod here from MasterCard, which is very influential in the payments and Web3 industry more and more every day, that this might be a niche of the Web3 world of crypto that investors should be paying attention to. We'll more than likely be doing some deep dives and some further studies on Linea, and as of right now, I don't think that there's a coin associated with this project. It's just a dApp that you can build on, and I assume it's on Ethereum, although I haven't verified that yet. Maybe somebody can help us out in the comments with that. So, big story. Being able to spend crypto is going to have to happen at some point for mass adoption. I don't know that it has to happen yet, right? But this is a positive step in that direction. Again, as an investor, I'm not incentivized to spend these cryptos because I see them more as an investment, especially Bitcoin. But perhaps that dynamic can change sooner than I thought with this technology being rolled out in the UK and the EU. Kyle Field said, if the government doesn't chill out, Monero or whoever has the best private layer will take over as a main transaction coin. Very interesting take there.
Interesting.
Very interesting take.
That is interesting. T-shirt, I don't know how this is. I don't know if this is breaking news necessarily, but I don't think it was set in our I don't know what we call it, structure. Our lineup. What we're talking about. Yeah, Norway has been stacking Bitcoin exposure via MicroStrategy. That is your. Oh, there we go. So this is about an hour or so ago, I think. Although that's just 4:10. Okay, I don't know. It must be times behind. Not quite an hour ago, maybe like 30 minutes ago. Norwegian sovereign wealth fund Norges Bank, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, also known as Norway's government pension fund global, has been allocating a significant amount of its 18 trillion krone or $1.7 trillion to MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor's leveraged Bitcoin holding company. Now, what's significant? 1.7, if that was all if that was what they were doing, that would be huge, but it says significant there. This is according to the fund's latest report. According to the June 30th filings, Norway has invested $217 million in MicroStrategy. There we go. $217 million. Let's just highlight that so that it sticks out. We can reference it. Allow the highlight. Thank you for that. Giving it 0.89% ownership and 0.45% voting rights. That's not very significant, but it's something. Although significant, it says significant. I didn't think that was significant. Although significant, its holdings are far subordinate to Saylor's equity position and 52.9% personal voting power. And I bet he's going to keep that 52.9% voting power. So as a whole, I think that's probably the big news there. But it's another government that's really going big on Bitcoin. Now, they're taking an interesting route here. They're doing it through MicroStrategy. Of course, what this allows them to do is get access to leverage Bitcoin. They're not satisfied with one-to-one. They're not buying Bitcoin spot. They want it leveraged. They want to buy through MicroStrategy. So maybe instead of just a 3 or 4x, they get a 5x, 10x, 15x. I don't know what the leverage is exactly. But But very interesting. Shout out to Carlos James with just a super chat. Thank you for that, giving us a drink of what looks like Kool-Aid. Love it. Yes. But yeah, so let's see. AM says, so Norway's investing in the future to take care of the people. Gotta love the USA.
Wait, so on my software that we stream from, it doesn't post emojis most of the time. So this is what that emoji is described as. Hair character exaggeratingly stretching his arms forward to offer a cup of coffee.
That is a red drink. I don't know why. What if you're drinking coffee that's red like that?
Yeah.
Go see a doctor. Go see a doctor. That's not going to come out right.
The U Today headline that I see for this is from today, and it says central banks of Norway and Switzerland disclose massive MicroStrategy holdings.
That's cool.
That is really big. The central banks. Then I don't know about the Swiss one, but the Norwegian central bank is actually, I think it might be in the top 5 in terms of like the amount of value. A lot of it would be in fiat and treasuries, but the amount of value that they quote unquote manage is very interesting.
Yeah. Well, didn't they just talk about that in the Elon and Trump interview? Didn't they talk about Norway's high education levels? So some of the smartest country in the world by education.
Their children are,
Their children are buying Bitcoin.
Norwegian children soak up all the liquidity.
More evidence of smart money is buying Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
All right. Look, Peace Room, it is already 3:36. I want to do a lot of Q&A. I want to do some technical analysis with the people. If you guys are enjoying the show, smash the like. We haven't come up with what we're going to do if we were to get 330 likes, though, Peace Room. We should probably think about that a little bit. Maybe go into our factoid of the day. And then we're at 212 right now. I'll be honest. We're a little past halfway through the show. We have 540 people in here watching. 215, not bad. It's not bad, but we definitely could get to 330. So we got to think of something we're actually going to do here for the people. But give us suggestions. Let's do the factoid of the day while people get some Q&A, some suggestions for what we could do at 330.
I got one, Tim. I got one.
Okay.
It might be a little risky here, but if we can get to 350 likes, Tim will read the last message that he either sent or received from his wife. How about that? Unless it's like extremely
crazy. That's a dangerous
crazy.
Proposition. My wife is crazy in a good way.
In a great way. That's right, Tim. We love our significant others.
You know what? I'll read it right now. Do you want me to read it now?
No, they have to earn the likes, Tim.
Come on. That's true. All right. I will read the last text my wife sent me if we get to 350 likes.
I love it.
I'm not afraid of what it. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna like the video. Here we go.
Yeah, you better. All right, let's get into our factoid of the day. Then we'll do some Q&A. I see your super chat, WL Sharp. We will start with that right on the other side of the factoid.
Awesome. Bros, if you're looking for tax solutions for being invested in crypto, look no further than who we trust. That is decrypted.tax. And right now you can get 25% off their professional tax services. Tim, on September 19th, 2008, in the year of our Lord, when news of the bank bailout proposal emerged, the U.S. stock did what? And I think that the factoid element to put stock market did what? It rose by 3%, rose by 6%, or fell by 2%. What is the answer to this factoid? Let me know in the chat. What is the answer to this question? Let me know what you think the answer might be.
So that's no small move right there. 6% and 3%, even 2%. Really, when you think about it, I'm assuming it's the day of. That's a pretty big move, no matter what it did. Now, 2008, obviously, we're talking about that's the year of the big crash because of the housing market going down. But it's saying September, so we're pretty late into it. I'm gonna say that I think it's B. I think we rose by 6%. I think it's gonna be that was a good piece of information. We felt very strong about it. I think the factoid elf's trying to throw me off by having one by itself in C. I don't think that's the case. I think it's A or B. And I'm going to say I think that we're going to think that 6% is too big, but that would at the time that would have been very, very good news. I could see a 6% pump on that news back then.
All right, let's see if he's right. Rose by 3%. Directionally correct. But quantitatively incorrect. On September 19th, 2008, the stock market rose by 3% because the U.S. government, introduced the bailout proposal, and this is from the official Emergency Economic Stabilization Act of 2008 Wikipedia page. These are the kinds of Wikipedia pages that your boy T-Shroom stays camped out at, making sure I'm up to date on all the latest 2008 happenings. So
interesting. Unfortunately, guys, that puts us at zero. We didn't have one. What was I was not on the show yesterday, so we didn't have a factoid yesterday. So we're 0-2. We need 3 wins this week to do a $50 giveaway here on Saturday. So help me out, guys. Help me out. We got to get some more. I'm looking at chat. I'll say a lot of people went with me at B. I see a couple people went with A. But chat, I think as a whole, we lost this one. I know I was the final decision maker, but we need to get these right if we're intros now, just randomly in the middle of the show. Let's check out what chat is doing. Let's start off with the super chat that was just given by WL Sharp. Can you do some TA on Caspa? Now, I saw something in chat that I had not seen in the news, T-Shroom. I don't know if you can fact check this while I look at the technicals, but someone was asking, what do we think about the fact that Caspa miners are no longer profitable? Very interesting. I don't know if it's true or not. But T-Shroom is muted, but I'm sure that even in his silence, he's doing a great job looking up the details.
Yes, I will. Let's go to your chart, Tim.
Let's go to my chart here. I'll say this. This is looking kind of similar to what we were just looking at in Bitcoin. Big move down, obviously, when we had the big scare on August 5th. Take a look at what we've done, though, since we've kind of woken up from that slumber. You got a rising level of support. We could go a little bit lower here on Caspa. But look at that clean resistance line. Like, we're not talking about wicks breaking through. We're not talking about anything else. We are talking about a very clean resistance level right here at, let's go all the way over. And so we get these touching 17.28 cents. Very strong level of resistance. What is this formation? This is called an ascending triangle. Now, there's 2 things that you can read on this. You could say, is this potentially a bearish pennant? But I did a class on this, and I'm not saying it's impossible that this could play out, but more than likely with this being a bullish formation of price action, not a bearish one, I put more money on scrap the flagpole, the same way I'm scrapping it when it comes to Ethereum or Bitcoin or anything else, because I don't think that's a realistic way to read it at this point. I'm paying way more attention of what has price done since the rebound back on August 5th. On Monday, August 5th, when we dropped all the way back down to 12 cents, and now we're back up here wrestling between 17 and then keep setting these higher lows. This is bullish, ladies and gentlemen. I would say take a look here. Let's just be conservative here. This will, at a certain point we break out, or should give us a price up to 21 cents, which would be a new all-time high. Don't be surprised we wrestle with right below there at previous all-time high. But that's a good sign just right off the bat looking at formations. Check out the bearish breaker block sitting right on that level. Also, the 4-hour smart trail. So Luxalgo coming in clutch. The traditional TA calls this, but seeing it backed up with the Lux Algo signals as well, it just overwhelmingly communicates the significance of this level of resistance. Now, we're under a buy order here on the 4-hour chart. We have take profit a lot higher here, between 18 to 19 cents. Let's see what our oscillators are saying. Little bit of a sell order coming in here at the top. What am I looking at? Bearish reversal, bearish momentum, and we have a negative money flow even in play. What does that mean price should drop back down to? Well, it's hard to say for certain, other than the fact that we have an order block right in here back at 15 cents. You had that rising level of support that probably will catch us somewhere here in the region of the lower 16-cent range. Let's take a look at the 1-hour chart. Let's go a little lower in time frames and see what it is looking at. Got a nice order block right in here. We lost our hourly smart trail. That's bearish at the moment. Got a nice order block coming in here at 16.2, a take profit level right at pretty much 16 cents on the dot. I wouldn't be surprised to see us drop down to that level. We're starting to see, I like this. I like the Luxalgo oscillator here. We can definitely go lower, but we have a green reversal. We're definitely making a lower move here. Let's keep dropping. Let's see a move a little bit lower here on Caspa come in, and then we'll get a nice probably reversal on the oscillator. The money flow should keel back up to the upside, and that could be a buy signal right in there. Shorter time frames, bearish right now, but I do think a buy signal could be coming here very, very soon when you're looking at the larger grand scope of things here on Caspa. T-Shroom, did you find anything about this information about Caspa miners potentially not being profitable? You can tell us with your voice if you want.
So
there we go.
There was a little bit of information here when you search Caspa miners on Twitter. What you get is people adding. So the first result here, the top result is we added some Caspa miners again this month. Keep building Caspa. I highly doubt that this level of operation. This is Bruce J, who's got almost 80,000 followers and is followed by somebody I know. I doubt that they would be making an investment in something that would be unprofitable so quickly. This person here said exchanges don't need to increase Caspa price. The price should go up when they sell everything they got. Some Gen 1 ASICs are already becoming unprofitable to run for some miners such as KS1 models. So there's somebody kind of talking about unprofitable mining. All the KS5Ls coming online are definitely impacting yields. It's a challenging time for Caspa miners, but staying committed through the rough patches is key, as well as remembering that the profit share calculated when you sell the coin, not when mined. The long-term potential, show more, is bullish, weather the storm. So I think what's probably happening here is you're reading headlines for the first time, not knowing a ton about mining, which is that mining ASICs manufacturers for any proof of work blockchain, they come out with new mining equipment that is more efficient at mining the protocol per blockchain, and that is why some miners become unprofitable. So there's Bitcoin mining ASICs that you could have paid like $50,000 for in, let's say, 2019 that are completely bricked now. They're worthless. They do nothing because there's miners that just came out of the manufacturer, Bitcoin miners that are so efficient that they blow those out of the water. That's how that works. It's a hardware thing that we wouldn't look as an investor. I don't keep up with those things until things get bad, right? Until someone jumps in our comments and says something about it, right? But the reality is that those systems are normalized, and if the miners anticipated being unprofitable, then you would know it. You would know it by looking at the price per coin on the charts. That would be very obvious, and the news would educate, and that would not be FUD, right? So.
Something to understand about the whole mining process to begin with, and even one of the reasons why people rush to Caspa, Bitcoin's very expensive to mine right now. If you were mining with the same computer you were mining Bitcoin back in 2013, you would be being destroyed right now. The technology is just so advanced at this point. A lot of people switched to Caspa mining because it was so much cheaper and more profitable than Bitcoin. But something you need to understand about proof of work coins in general is when the difficulty and the cost increases, while it's painful in the moment for miners, it's long-term very bullish. It actually increases the value of how things are done. And I think even somewhere here in chat, Daddy Chill said first generation miners are unprofitable, but the new ones are very profitable. Yeah, you got to keep up. This is part of how proof of work works. It's part of what's inevitable as Caspa continues to gain in value. We have it going very, very high this bull market. But if you thought you were going to be able to use your grandpa's computer to mine it forever and always, and you were going to stay highly profitable, you're kidding yourself. Right. And that's another point here. That's the other thing is like maybe you're unprofitable today. Maybe you have to spend $1,000 this month in electricity, and you're only going to mine $500 worth of Caspa. I'm throwing those numbers out there just cause, right? So I don't know if that's the exact details, but let's just pretend you're losing 50% of what you're spending, right? Well, if you're bullish on Caspa, and I would imagine if you're mining it, you got to have some level of understanding about thinking the price is going to go up to the upside. If you're even thinking simply a 10x in terms of its price action, that means this month, even though you went down $500, you will eventually gain 5x. You'll end up gaining $5,000. So in the long term, that $1,000 you spent on electricity turned into $5,000. That's a good investment. I think that's a low end. I think that Caspa is a coin that could easily do a 20x from current prices, continuing on this bull market. But the point still stands. You got to keep updating your equipment. It's part of how mining works. Difficulty increases, but that is a part of the value proposition that comes with it, that is going to get more expensive. It's going to get more difficult. That also is part of the reason why price continues to go up and to the right. So I wouldn't be worrying too much about this. Going back, someone else said, can we take a look at Ondo? Ondo, one of the channel favorites, but we haven't necessarily discussed the technicals too much here more recently. Now, Ondo has been kind of tracking here for a while since back in June in a falling channel. I honestly thought we were going to have more of a breakout back here in July. We really flirted with the concept there late or mid-July of breaking out, but we did come back down, had that massive scare early in August, dipped all the way back down, but since then really recaptured the support level of this falling channel. So we're going to continue to monitor. We're just going to have to stretch this out and say, you know what, it's possible we just continue to stay in this for a while. But I do think that, again, the bullishness is going to come back sooner than a lot of people think. It just hasn't come back just yet. But you're going to see these current levels that we've pulled back to, with the exception of the scare. Take a look at the recent consolidation in March and April earlier this year. This is where price consolidated before making a push up here towards $1.50 almost. We're back down to those levels. That is not abnormal whatsoever. In fact, as you start to turn on a lot of the other major indicators, let's go to a larger time frame as well, like up here at the daily chart, we're hitting some major support levels. We've actually come back down significantly. It's not just that we're hitting support levels. Ondo, great value proposition as it's dropped now over 66%, currently still 50% down from those highs. But we hit our take profits. We got deep into that green cloud of support. We're on the support level of this falling channel. If you take a look at our oscillators here more recently, we got a buy signal over the last couple of, over a week ago or so, where we got back down to extremely low oscillator levels. And when you take a look at the other levels, we have a lot of room to the upside before you make the argument that this move is finished and is overblown. This still screams on the longer time frames extremely bullish action. When we come to the lower time frames, though, let's take a look at what is possible back to the downside. Let me turn off Lux for a second and see if there's anything of value in terms of support and resistance. Not really. This is kind of sitting in a similar boat to Bitcoin. You're going to have to kind of stretch some stuff and say, is there potentially something right in there? But I'm just not seeing. I don't like ever just connecting just two touches. I like to see several. As a whole, coming back on here, let's look at the horizontal levels. We're under a bullish breaker block at the moment. You guys can see here it's held up for the last couple of days. Down here towards 72 cents. If that dam breaks on the 4-hour chart, you got a lot of things coming into confluence back down in the range of 64 to 65 cents. Our smart trail, a nice bullish order block, a take profits, all in play right there. But I'm not convinced that has to happen. Let's take a look at what the hourly chart is saying. Our hourly chart, a lot more favorable for the bulls. It's suggesting 70 cents. 69.70 cents with an order block and a take profit, matching up with that falling level of support. Looks like a good level to keep an eye on. But let's check out our liquidations here as well. Get an understanding of potentially where traders might target some potential short squeezes or long squeeze, I could say. Let's go all the way down to the 7-day because just like the rest of the charts, these larger time frames not giving us a lot. Some heavy liquidity. Where's my there we go. Heavy liquidity down there at 70 cents. All right, so we mentioned that. And then check it out. We have actually a little bit below there, 60 cents, 60 cents, 58 cents, bright yellow. Let's take a look at our 12-hour. What could happen here sooner? Because even though we have liquidity down there, it's not necessarily a guarantee. In this tight range, 70 cents, 67 cents. This is a split one. This is definitely saying that we have a lot of reason to make a big move to the upside. We have a lot of reason to make move to the downside. Remember I said earlier, this is probably a situation to not necessarily go nuts with your investing. If you like the dip, buy it. But this is one of those you might want to wait for a confirmation of a move. We're not seeing a confirmation on the 1-hour chart, although we're back down to lower levels of being oversold. So I would almost say if you're looking for your next long position on Ondo, probably keep an eye on the 1-hour chart, hitting its take profits, hitting support levels, and possibly giving you a sign on the oscillators that a reversal move is in the cards. For now, though, while we are sitting again on 4-hour support, based off those liquidity levels and based off of what I'm seeing on this chart, 70 cents looks extremely possible for Ondo pullback. That being said, if we end up shooting up into the right, be prepared for that move as well. Watch the coin closely, and you'll see a big breakout. But let me just say, like, before I move on, because I kind of told you what to look for on the lower end. What should you look for maybe on a breakout to the upper end before you feel confident You can't go wrong with saying let's set a higher high up here above 83 cents. But as a whole, let's go look at the 4-hour chart and see what's kind of going on here. I'm not going to see a smart trail over there, but the 1-hour smart trail is going to come in here on 76 cents. So another sign on the hourly chart of bullishness would be that Ondo gets back above 76, 77 cents. That could be a confirmation along with a buy signal on the oscillators that says it's time to look for a bigger move on Ondo that should be able to make moves up back towards resistance before you see back up towards this descending resistance before you see major pullbacks happening. So hold off on Ondo, give it some time, look for a 70-cent range. And even that, when we hit 70 cents, what are the oscillators saying? Go back to that liquidations chart. Did new liquidity end up popping up? Did we see it spread out different places? It's not a guarantee. I'm just saying 70 cents is an interesting spot for the next decision point on if you want to long or if you want to hold off just a little longer.
Yep, it's good stuff. That is good stuff, Tim. Let's see. XRP to the moon, says Flow Fuss. Maybe some XRP
Find the moon
could be in the mix. My inclination is no. But Tim, any chance you would look at Aero? I appreciate it, bro. I believe that's Aerodrome. AERO. Recommended
we can take a look at Aero.
Yeah, so that's recommended by a couple accounts there. So XRP, Aerodrome. While you're pulling that up, Tim, I've actually got a pretty interesting headline here that we could chat about. Wizz Air launches $550 all-you-can-fly annual subscription pass. Now, Americans, don't get too excited because this is a European airline, but if you take a look at it, these are some of the destinations: Athens, Greece, Madrid, Paris, all kind of touristy destinations. But for $550, all you can fly, I believe some of the details where you had to pay $10 every time you fly, so it's not really it's not really only $550. But Tim, if you were a frequent flyer, is this something you'd be taking advantage of?
This sounds like the CC's Pizza of restaurants. $550 for all you can fly. The only way to keep that profitable is to have the crappiest seating possible on the crappiest planes possible. I don't know if I trust this. Now, I'm not European. I won't have the opportunity to even take advantage of it if I wanted to. But I'm not bullish on this. The other thing is, why is this company doing it for such a low cost? Are they potentially on the fringe of bankruptcy and this is their last-ditch effort to maybe pull in some profitability? Also, what are they paying those pilots? I don't want a crappy pilot flying a plane. I know you're technically safer in a plane than you are in a car, but there's a lot more cars than there are planes. And crappy pilot. We saw a plane go down in South America here last week. So I'm staying away from this. All my European friends, do what you want, but if you ask my opinion, I'd stay away from that airline.
Well, you're not too far off, Tim. Earlier this month, the Hungarian airline, Wizz, reported a 44% drop in its first quarter operating profit. Meantime, a customer satisfaction rating of 44% put it at the bottom of a February ranking in short-haul European carriers by consumer group, which? So I'm not exactly sure what that means, but yeah, you're right that there is some funky stuff going on with the finances of this Hungarian airline. Tim, let's go ahead and take a look at, what is it, Aerodrome you got pulled up?
Aerodrome. Let's see here. 4-hour chart even showing us some lower levels. Smart Trail and order block coming in here at 62 cents on Aerodrome. Take profit coming in down here towards lower 58 cents. So keep both those areas in mind. We're in a very neutral oscillator perspective right now where we're not oversold, we're not overbought. So a move to the downside looks more likely. Keep a range right here. This is where I'm gonna put it here. This box right here, I think, is a very interesting box to keep an eye on. If we were to go the hourly chart, go lower, that box is almost perfectly the take profit level. And we are sitting on the hourly smart trail, but yeah, I don't necessarily love that to the down. I don't love that support line holding. I think this range here between 62 to 58 cents kind of looks very likely there. To the upside, where would we regain potential bullishness? You can make an argument for a couple levels here. I'd say let's get above this peak here. Let's get above 72 cents, and I think you can resume. Yeah, you're seeing strength on the oscillators as well would be good, but I think that's what you're looking for. Daily chart, again, hit a nice support level, but take a look at where that smart trail comes in on the daily chart. We would stay long-term bullish and still get into the lower levels of this on that smart. Again, we had it's not quite a buy signal. The buy signal came in actually way back here on July 5th, which did very, very well. But right now, you can see even on the daily chart, while I'm still long-term bullish here, the money flow definitely is pouring out. So let's even watch the daily chart potentially regain some momentum here. That could be very good. That's my thoughts on Aerodrome right now. Look for a purchase level in that box somewhere between 58 to 62 cents. My best guess. I see a couple people saying, or I say a couple people. It's just Eric Wallen very kindly spamming the same question. He's not spamming it every 2 seconds. He's spamming it every 2 minutes, and I love it. When Caleb Franzen, I don't know. I haven't actually gotten to speak to Caleb Franzen in a little bit. I know he was busy traveling. We do need to have him back on. Maybe next week is the perfect opportunity as we kind of unpack Jackson Hole. I do continue to follow him over on X. He's extremely bullish right now, continue to go after all the haters and the bears. You love to see it. If anyone is wondering or thinking man, did Caleb Franzen and the bros hate each other or something? Don't even start that rumor. We love each other. He's busy. We're busy, but he is a friend of the channel. We are a friend of his. If you don't follow him on X and subscribe to his newsletter, then you're still an intelligent person, but you could be even more intelligent by going and doing those two things. It's 4 o'clock here, T-Shroom. Did we get our light goal? We're at 333.
Yeah.
That's short. That's 17 short of 350. We're not going to read my last text from my wife unless there's just a whole lot of likes that happen in the next.
Come on, bro. Smash the like button. Smash it. Smash it. We got to know. We got to find out.
We are right after this. Immediately after we hang up the phone here on YouTube, we're going to be going live in Discord with all of our YouTube and Discord members. You'll find us over there in bro time. If you're not a member, become a member for next time. The chances of you getting connected this fast, highly unlikely. You got to prepare ahead of time. Become a member today. We have weekly membership meetings for even our lowest tier. If you want to become a VIP member, join the Pro Bros or the Technicals, or you can check out that Lux Algo indicator that I'm using. No. You can sign up with a link down below and come and connect to our Discord and get access to our VIP trading group. We have almost daily meetings. I'm going to go live tonight. No, I'm not going live tonight with that. Tonight, I'm busy, T-Shroom. You know what I'm doing tonight? I'm going to be going into the membership stream here at 4. I'm going to jump right from there at 5 o'clock and be going live with Stocks with Josh over on his channel. If you're from that channel, put a 1 in chat. Shout out to you guys. I'm going live with him for Technical Tuesdays on a Wednesday. Don't ask about it. It's a complicated detail. And then at 7 p.m. tonight, I'm actually going to be live on X Spaces with the team Wolf Finance team. I think it's the Web3 Wolf Finance team, but one of the best channels out there at X Spaces. They asked me here about a week ago to be on their channel with them. I'm very honored, very happy to be there. 7 p.m. Go check it out. I retweeted it earlier on my X account. So you might still see me a couple more places here tonight. The work never stops. We love you guys.
Tim,
we hit 350. We hit 357. I got to read the tweet. I got to read the text.
Oh, I thought that there was a chance that we weren't going to achieve this goal. We've achieved it, and now we get to know what was said.
I'll read the last couple, actually. The first one's not good. It's not a good one at all. I forgot to feed Beamer.
That's your dog, right?
That's our dog. So that's not good. Poor Beamer. That's not good.
You want to feed your
dog.
Dog.
He's been fed, everyone. The text was her texting me when she was gone saying that he needs to be fed. So he's been fed.
PETA just slipped in the chat.
Yeah, he's good. He's still very thick, very strong. The text after that, we need to go ahead and get tickets to the UVA game. How do I do that? Virginia Tech, go Virginia Tech. We're going to be traveling the week of Thanksgiving, the end of November. We're going to be going to Virginia. Tisha and I we'll take that, not the whole week, but probably Wednesday through the end of the week off. Spend time with our families. You guys spend time with your families. We'll be back the Monday after. But that Saturday after Thanksgiving, Virginia Tech plays their rival UVA, even though they have a record in the last 20 years of 19-1 against them. It's going to be fun. A lot of my family is going.
Wow.
That's what we've been texting about here more recently.
That's
Nothing inappropriate or weird, although depending on when you ask me those questions, you might find some weird stuff in there. But I'm very glad that there was no weirdness there. Guys, love you. Thank you for being here. Remember,
Gotta remember, I was going to read what
read yours.
Amanda. Yeah, so I texted her, please, no more barking. Help me. because the dogs were barking during the stream, and
she said, feeding them.
And she said, "I just left, so she's not even here." I don't know what was more important than keeping the dogs quiet during the stream, but I'm sure it's probably dinner, which is going to be good.
Yeah.
I apologize profusely for the barking. The dogs didn't get fed on your end, and they barking on my end. Oh man,
they're probably crying out for justice for Beamer. Is really what's
right.
happening. If you think about it. All right, guys, that's all we have for you. Members, we'll see you here in just a second over in Discord. The rest of you, I'll see you on Stocks with Josh or in the X Spaces or tomorrow morning. I got a great video coming out tomorrow morning, by the way. I'm going to do my 5 top coins for 20Xs. Don't miss it tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. You'll want to be a part of it. Guys, love you. See you. Hit the like, hit subscribe. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.